What's up, everybody? This is Dal Stone here, and today I'm going to be doing a video brought to you by Pascal or at cure underscore in from Twitter. Her suggested topic today was how do you improve and keep improving your art? So thank you so much for this. This is a great topic, and that's what we'll be covering today. So for me personally, I'm just going to share. Okay, so first off, I should have been saying this in a lot of my videos, so I'm going to say it right now. This is my opinion alone. This is just me sharing my experience and what I think you should be doing. So, so this isn't the end all be all. This is the golden rule or anything like that. This is just something that has worked for me, and I would like to suggest and recommend it to others who are willing to listen. Okay, so first and foremost, have clear and smart goals. Okay, so for me personally, like I've started setting goals. I'd say like seriously started setting goals like after high school, like pretty much. I'd say maybe like grade 10 or something like that was when I started setting goals, but it was kind of like forced on you, right, with career planning and all that stuff back in high school. But like seriously, career type of stuff, future goals and all those things was pretty much after college. So if you haven't heard about what SMART goals are, it's an acronym. Okay, SMART, and so the S stands for specific, the M stands for measurable, and A stands for attainable. R stands for relevant, and T stands for timely. Okay, so these are kind of like the criteria on how to set really good goals. So I think, and there's tons of videos on this. You can search it up on Google. You can search it up on YouTube. There's tons of people who are going to explain how to set these type of goals a lot better than I do. But this is something that even we at employees at EA, we this is how we set our goals as well as individuals and as employees. So as individual artists, I recommend you set these SMART goals as well. Okay, so for example, I'll share you some of my goals that I had this year. So for me, I wanted to work on my presentation and rendering and lighting skills because a lot of my peers and at work, that was the one thing that they constantly kept saying was my presentation skills could use a level up, right? And that was the nicest way that they can put that. And so for me, I went out, and I'll share with you how I kind of went about working on that goal. A goal that I set for myself personally was I wanted to sculpt more in ZBrush. So if you've been noticing, a lot of my content on YouTube has been me doing more sculpting and more stylized art, just so that I'm in ZBrush more. And it's mostly because I really enjoy ZBrush. ZBrush is hands down my favorite 3D software package. It's the one where when I took out my credit card to purchase it, I had no regrets doing that because using it at work, I just fell in love with it. And lastly, one of my other goals, and these are my personal goals, by the way. My work goals, I don't think I could share those. But personal goals, last one was hard surface modeling. Like I wanted to continue modeling like weapons, vehicles, because that's like my hobby. Like that's the stuff that I love to work on. And my goal is to kind of, when I'm working on personal projects, I want to work on things that I love. And that's mostly because I find when working on personal projects, if it's not something that I'm interested in, I tend to get bored of it and then I stop working on it and I never finish it. So yeah, so set SMART goals. Okay, so that's the first thing that I think that's really important for you to do. Search it up on Google, search it up on YouTube on what and how to set SMART goals, and that should bring you closer into creating very valuable goals. Next thing I want to cover is pretty much learning from peers, right? So for me, I learned a lot from Twitch streamers. Again, I'm going to plug Dynasty, and I'm going to plug one of my peers at work who live streams as well. His name is Sir Digital Bacon. Kevin Brunt is his real name. Great dude. He's one of the leads on the team that I'm working on. I learn a lot from watching their streams. Again, I learn a lot from coworkers. For those who are in school, learn from your classmates and be smart about the classmates that you learn from. For me, I focused a lot of my time. I always sat next to the most talented artists. I always sat next to the one that I was like, man, this is the artist that I want to become. And I started to kind of watch and take some of the habits that they had, and I started to integrate it into myself, right? And it was motivating too, because I would sit next to the most talented artists in my classroom, and I would look over at my art and I'd be like, that my art's not even close to as good as theirs, right? And I would ask them for tips and I'd ask them for advice, and they would be more than happy to share their knowledge with me, right? So do your best to keep those very talented and those who are willing to help close to you. Okay. Go into social media, follow and get inspired by talented artists. Comment and yourself, use social media smartly, right? Post up your work in progress, ask for critiques, hashtag the right hashtags, right? So that you get the most, you get discovered the most. So social media. Attend game dev conferences. I think this is huge. And not everyone can do this, obviously, but if you can, I know YouTube, like the game developers conference is a big one, that I think, just go to their website. They have tons of videos that they have up there for free. Go onto YouTube. YouTube has tons of talks. There's lots of, okay, essentially I shouldn't say there's a lot, but there's there's definitely more than a handful of 3D game developers, 3D artists who give advice, right? Like myself, who create these type of videos to try and help other artists who aspire to become game artists and want to get into the industry. I keep plugging 80.lv or 80 level and ArtStation, right? So looking at the art is one thing, right? Like looking at the trending page and being in awe of all this amazing work that your future potential coworkers is great, right, for inspiration. But you also need to be reading and studying the articles that both websites post up, right? 80 level is amazing. Every single week, there's always one or two articles that I'm just like, wow, that was such a great article, covering all different variety of things, game related. ArtStation always has interviews with artists and tons of insights on the industry and just how artists got there and their mindset and how they work. So study those articles, read them. Okay. So how do I personally try to improve myself? Another way of doing that on my own time is because not all studios, like I'm very lucky, right? But not all studios provide you with online tutorials and stuff like that. So I definitely recommend Gnomon, the Gnomon Workshop. They have a subscription, right? And to be honest with you, a subscription for, can't remember what it is, like $60 or $80 a year or something like that, or a month, compared to the amount of money that I paid for my tuition, is not much at all. And you get access to tons of great industry tutorials on Substance Painter, Substance Designer, modeling for video games, modeling for vehicles, modeling for film. Tons of those on Gnomon Workshop. You can look at CubeBrush or Udemy. Tons of tutorials on there. Gumroad. Okay, so ArtStation is really cool because lots of the talented artists who do create tutorials, they'll actually post it up on their ArtStation for people to have a listen, or for people who want to purchase their tutorials. So those are online resources that I think is worth paying for. So another tip that I really have for artists on how to improve their work is constantly comparing your work to other professionals. Right. And I know as a student that's a little bit tough, right? Because you feel like your work isn't up to par yet and you're a little bit hesitant, right, to do that. But I think it's really important to constantly compare your work to others. Just because if you feel like your work is not at least up to par with what's out there, the chances are that's what other people are seeing as well. And let's be real here, like as artists, we're very critical with our work, right? And we're always never satisfied with our work. So it's a lot more useful to post it up onto ArtStation and get feedback, right? Let people see your work. Let people give you the likes and stuff like that, right? Because that's kind of like your way of finding out if your work is kind of like that people can relate to it and that people actually like it, right? So that's the easiest way. I really wish that I had some sort of platform like that back when I was in school or back when I was starting out. It was essentially like just like forums was all we really had. So use that to your advantage, right? Post up work, look at it. Someone else created a Zelda Master Sword or something, and you decided that you wanted to do it. Compare it. Like, does your Master Sword even come close to theirs? And you should try and aim to make it better than theirs. Because if they had thousands of likes on their Master Sword, and you decide that you want to do one, well, you want to aim for, at least 1,000 likes then on yours, as a minimum. And then lastly, I just want to talk about practice, right? Like, you just have to practice. Like, this is not something that's just you don't get good at something automatically. Like, you have to put in the work. And for those who've never heard of the 10,000 hours rule, it applies with life, right? With anything. So with this too, it's going to take you 10,000 hours to become a master at any part of game art. So you got to start putting in the work. And to do that, I suggest artists who are starting out to always treat it like it's a job. So let's say you finish school, right? And this happens to a lot of people. You finish school and you can't land that job, right? So what that means right away is you need to work on your portfolio. That's the very first thing. Is your portfolio obviously doesn't catch the eye of recruiters and studios locally or abroad, right? So you got to work on your portfolio. So to treat it like it's a job, first off, you got to be working 40 hours. As much as you can, you need to try and put in close to 40 hours a week on your work. And I know that's going to be tough for a lot of people because a lot of you probably work full-time or part-time, but that means that when you come home, all your free time needs to go into working on your art. So you got to treat it like it's a job, right? You have to get the first and most important thing an artist needs to get rid of is being shy at showing their work for feedback. Okay? That is going to be the death of you if you cannot break it. Okay, well, and so I want to reiterate that. If you are too shy to show your work and receive feedback, this industry is definitely not for you. Because on a daily or every other day, even at work, you're constantly getting feedback from your art director, from your leads. And if you can't handle receiving feedback and critiques, then you gotta find a different industry to work in. Okay, so post up your stuff on ArtStation, post it on Polycount, go into Dynasty's stream in his Discord, because he has critiques, weekly critiques. Hit up Sir Digital Bacon. Post your stuff on social media, asking for feedback. So essentially, work on your asset, get feedback, tweak your asset, fix your asset, rinse and repeat. Okay, because that's how it is at work for me, right? And so you want to build those habits so that when you do get a job in the industry, you've already built those habits and it's just natural for you. You're just going to work on stuff and you're going to be seeking feedback. Like, you're going to want feedback, right? And that's kind of the traits and attitude that you have to have if you want to be successful in this industry. Okay, so hopefully that video helps. Thank you so much again for the suggestion on this topic. Really appreciate it. And yeah, if you guys like it, make sure you guys give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow me on Twitter.